Hello guys, welcome back to Air Tycoon Online. Um, I said Air Tycoon Online, but this is indeed, of course, not Air Tycoon Online. It is Air Tycoon 5. Probably going to be making that mistake quite a few more times before I get used to it. But today what I'm going to be looking for is I want to find out if what size of route will no longer keep a 747 passenger route full all the time. Because I'm wondering if I should start switching to a different strategy other than Tupolev and 747, but I think that's only necessary if I find that the routes aren't full. So it seems to me that competition 747 routes will easily start dropping occupancy, but I still don't see very many monopolies. But it seems to be about this size of route which drops occupancy with a 747. So something like Daegu to Paris is just a bit too small to maintain a 747 at 100% occupancy on all the time. Let's see if any other routes we can see here. So there doesn't seem to be many more. So it seems that at just about the right size of route, like even Sapporo to Paris, can no longer hold 100% occupancy. Nagoya to Paris. So it seems London still has no trouble keeping the routes pinned at 100% load factors, which is nice. So what I'm probably going to start doing, right, is I have some of these routes for London on 747s. I know the pricing is really low, but it's still making a lot of money, so I'm not too concerned about that. But for any of these I see, I think I can still be using 747. Some of them are in DC 1030s, but I'll probably replace them with 747s, and then I'll start using DC 1030s for Paris. And then I'll just accept the fact that I won't be ordering as many high volume of plane as using the Tupolev strategy. But for now, it seems to me that there's honestly kind of not enough demand for Tupolev routes anymore. I just simply have filled up too many of them. There's still plenty left also, but it's just a bit exhausting to try and go through and actually use all of them. So basically what I'm saying is for Paris, I'm going to start using DC 1030s, whereas for remaining London routes that I still want to do, I'm still happy to use 747s. Also, what I've been doing is, as you can see, I'm just leaving the pricing on 1.0. That's not because 1.0 is the most strategically advantageous pricing, but what it does do is I don't have to click as many times to make a route, and then I'm just going to use the auto tools in this game to set all the pricing to 1.3 later on. And then what happens when I do that is when I set all the prices to 1.3, it kind of messes up the the Tupolev routes, which of course do not fill up on 1.3 pricing and therefore lose a lot of money. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to then the next turn say anything that isn't at 100% occupancy, I'll set you back down to 1.0 pricing. Now, the only problem with that basically is, or 1.15 pricing for the Tupolevs, the only issue with that is it sets a lot of the new 747 and DC-10 routes back. So I'm either going to have to save up a few turns where I don't make a single new route and then do that, or I'll just accept that a few of my routes will always be on the incorrect pricing. So also, how do I find my London routes? I think, nope, it's not this button, it's this. And into this, and anything which isn't a 747, so I'll sort by price, right? And anything which isn't a 747, so DC 1030. Okay, that's DC 1030 due to range. So any DC 1030 like this. Okay, that's probably not the best way to do it, to be honest, and this needs to be fixed. Let's see. How do I do this in a good way? I need to sort by... Yes, so if I see London in any DC 1030, I think that's what I'm going to have to do, and then replace it with a 747. So anything like this. Just pop a 747 on there. Let's see. Here's another 747. Perfect. Yeah, I think this will be the best way to do it from now, because it seems to me Kuala Lumpur, of course, cannot be reached with a Boeing 747. Because it seems to me that London, oh, this must be a range limited route. So yeah, Kaohsiung is too far for a 747. Yeah, so any route with London seems to still be able to handle a 747 quite comfortably, while routes seem to struggle with 747s in Paris. I guess Paris is just a lot smaller, and fuel prices shooting up, it looks like. And I can't believe we're still using 747-100s. I guess the reason for that is literally just because they can be leased. And boom, let's go ahead and do that and pass the turn. And as you can see, guys, also my profit is around 400k. I don't know what I left off at last episode, but I definitely played a bunch off camera just to speed up the progression of this game, I guess. So yeah, I don't know if you guys like that or don't like that, but that is basically what we're going to be doing from now on. Okay, so let me go ahead and do a price reset now. So what I'm going to do is, based on default fare, just set every single route in my entire company to 1.3. So I'll go ahead and click confirm on that. And then what you're going to see is most likely a small drop in profit, although it could be an uptick next tick. Of course, I use upticks to refer to the months of the year where the traffic is slightly better, the air traffic. So we'll see what it is, because I think it's like 1 month different from the Air Tycoons I'm used to. So let's go ahead and pop this over. Somebody explained it in my comments. Yeah, you can see a relatively significant drop in profit. And if you take a look why, it's because all the Tupolevs, see this 60-70% occupancy. So what I have to then do is say, if you're below that threshold, I'll set on based on default fare back to, let's try 1.16, see if that works as well as 1.15. Say okay. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and buy some fuel. Oh, I also need to satisfy my employees. Go ahead and purchase the fuel. What else do I need to do? Need to buy planes. Oh, I think I have a bunch of planes sitting around too, so let's go ahead and use those. Yeah, the DC-1030s are very profitable too. They're quite a good plane, for sure. Okay, there we go. And yeah, I think, what do I have? I have 2 7.4s and 8 DC-10s, I think. Let's go ahead and look for DC-10s to replace that are flying to London. Here's one of them. And if I can't find any more DC-10s flying to London, but, oh, I can, but that's out of range. Okay, this DC-10 isn't even full, but I think that might just be because of my issues with the staff I have this month. And it's probably not a reflection of the fact that I don't have. Oh, okay, I have no more 7.4s. Okay, so time to open some routes to Paris with the DC-1030s. Yeah, there's tons and tons and tons of these routes left, so it's really just about spamming them out, I guess. Yeah, see, without having to drag the pricing to the correct amount, making routes is definitely a lot faster. Much less time. Yeah, basically like this, I'm just able to make so many more routes more quickly that I think it's a better deal. Like, it's a better deal to have your first routes running at, or some small percentage of your routes running at not quite a good profitability. Though maybe I can think of a better way to do this, where it doesn't involve having a part of your routes running inefficiently, but without additional manual labor. So there still are some Paris routes which I probably want to use a 747 on. Like, for example, Hanoi is pretty big, but at the same time, there's nothing to stop over to on the other side, so I might as well just do this with a DC-10. Oh, actually, I could definitely use a 747 for that one. Yeah, I just need to wait on some more 747s. How's Calcutta? Calcutta is definitely in the range for a DC-1030. Basically, I don't want to waste potential where it exists, and while basically, right, if I'm using a 747 and a DC-10, I think they should make quite similar amounts because the 747 is leased. Once I replace the planes, I'll be replacing DC-10s with something 747 sized, and I'll be replacing 747s with hopefully something A380 size. Well, in the future, there'll just be more 747s, but in the long future, we'll of course be looking at even larger planes like the A380 when that comes out. But before that, I guess we'll only have, yeah, before the A380, before the, what am I saying? Before the A380, yeah, we'll just have bigger 747s in the future, like the 400, but I think the 200 is here for a long time to stay, before we actually get the 400, and yeah, I think the 400 is probably the longest running 747, unless you count the Dash 8 Continental, because that's likely the last 747, right? It could be around for a long, long, long time. What else do we have? We have these kind of routes. Where can we go? Something equivalently small, so I guess San Juan isn't too far off. Yeah, as you can see how much faster it is to make routes like this. Basically what I realized is in this game, because time passes whenever you choose it to do so, you can really maximize your efficiency. And when the efficiency gets so high, the amount of things you need to do before a turn completes is going to become exceptionally, exceptionally high. Ooh, that's too far. I need this one, but and that's great and all, but when you actually have to do it by hand, ooh, it's just a bit time consuming. Let's see, what else can we do? Something like Panama City. No, I already used Panama City. Any good cities left? Vancouver. It's a pretty good one. All right, perfect. Yeah, apparently when my dad lived in Europe, for example, for stopovers, right? Like a lot of these stopovers seem ridiculous and are ridiculous for real life. I mean, they would get no benefit from being in the way they are arranged besides the direct flight. At half the schedules, I guess, but that wouldn't be too bad in real life. But of course, at that time, Africa was even less developed than it is now. And the Europeans really kind of controlled the economy and everything. So if you wanted to fly from, for example, one neighboring African country to another, you'd have to fly through Europe, through one of the major hubs: Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Paris, London, Rome. You'd have to fly through even Belgium. Like for example, Zaire was like kind of just been like, or what's it called now? Democratic Republic of the Congo used to be a, what's it called? A colony of Belgium, which is, I guess you could say kind of entertaining almost because of the near comedic levels of size difference between those two countries. So yeah, boom, we're level 5. Interesting. So yeah, we're 450k now, which isn't too shabby, but like, I don't know, it's gonna be a while before I can just smash in orders of tons and tons and tons of planes extremely quickly. It's still gonna be a long time before I have the capability to do that. for now, ordering the few planes I can at a time is actually still kind of unideal or kind of expensive, I guess. But that's fine. It's not very fast, that's for sure. Alright, there we go. That's a pretty good route. And then we just have a couple more bad routes. But I'm even running out of bad routes. Like, I'm looking for things with 4 slots, because I know that means I haven't done them to Paris yet. If you see what I mean. And yeah, it's becoming quite difficult to spot them. Well, Kuwait is a big city. You would probably be able to support quite a bigger plane on this route, but I guess we'll fix these things in due time. I could do Doha. Yeah, the real problem doesn't seem to be on this side. It seems to be on the North American side. So when we look over here and look to the North American cities, like we're even having to use cities like Milwaukee and Kansas City, which aren't nearly as big as the counterparts on the other side. And boom, there we go. You know what, next turn I'm probably gonna put in an order for a large batch of what am I trying to say? Where is it? There it goes. A large batch of Tupolevs so I can get like some more leases going. So let's go ahead and lease 10 of them, or buy 10 Tupolevs so I can lease some 7.4s. I think there should be enough routes for at least another batch of them. Tupolev 134A. Go ahead and max that out. And then if we take a look, I think it's here. Yep. See how far I am to the next hub. So I'm only 2 turns from my New York hub. So I can start preparing for that as well. And I will need, of course, 747s. Let's go ahead and put in an order for 5 of those, as many as I can get. And what do I have this turn? I have 2 1030s and a 7.4 to use. So I believe I found a decent one involving London. I think Calcutta? Yeah. Or Hanoi. I think Hanoi's better, yeah. So Hanoi to London. And then where's our last stop going to be? It's going to require some kind of clever... Port of Spain. Caracas, unfortunately, still has no airport. None of those work. Did I miss anything obvious around here? I don't think I did. I think I have most of the better ones. Calgary, Edmonton, nope. Anything around here? Columbus? Columbus is a pretty weak city, but it's probably the best I have, so just go ahead and use it. Alright, there we go. And then we just have a couple of DC 1030s. So we shouldn't have too much trouble finding some basic routes due to Paris with that, like New Orleans. And once again, I'm literally just looking at the slot numbers and seeing that it's missing a route. And I know the other one's definitely to London because I've had that hub for so long. But boom, there we go. And then what else around here is for Dubai? Yeah, Dubai is really going to be growing outside of the realm of size of routes I've been making to it. Yeah, just because I've been using like pretty small planes to fly to Dubai, and now that it's going to grow into a massive city, so really worthy of 747s, but whatever. Losing a little bit on one route, it's not a big deal. And another turn passes. And yeah, as you can see, also we're starting to get really affected by the uptick downtick. Like, even though we're adding new routes, we're making less money. And that's not a big deal, because on the next upticks, our profit will fly back up, unless I have some major problem going on. I think this might be one. Yep. Yeah. Oh, these offices and counters and shit go by really, really fast. and they're one of the most annoying things to fix. Once you have a lot of airports, it can become really, really tedious to fix these. Like, yeah, almost 100 in London Heathrow, which is insane considering most of the slots are occupied by tiny aircraft. Yeah, if these were large aircraft, just the slot numbers would be even more outrageously through the window. And yeah, right now it really seems we're limited by cash now instead of uh what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, I'm starting to feel like I'm being limited by the amount of cash I have in opening new routes rather than demand now that I finally have a new hub in New York coming up. And yeah, as we unlock more and more of the hubs, it's gonna feel more and more like there's infinite routes to fill, but a finite amount of money to fill those routes with. Uh yeah. Let's go ahead and make that. Any more 4s and 5s or 3s you see, guys? It looks like we've covered Eastern China pretty well. Looks like I got Korea, Japan, except for Akita, so we can do Akita. And where to stop? Let's pick something over here. Yeah, like eventually, like literally every city you see here is going to be a route to these large hub cities in Europe. Like literally every single one. Especially when smaller long-range planes come out, like the 767, but probably not the 767 because it's really expensive for what it's capable of. But probably planes like the A310, though that's so far in the future, I might choose to conquer that size route before that comes out with a different plane. But no, even DC-10 sized aircraft could probably work between the bigger cities like London and Paris, but for Frankfurt, Amsterdam, Rome, Barca, and Madrid and shit, we're really gonna want to be using smaller, more efficient planes, which are primarily speaking gonna be, yeah, like a lot smaller. A310, 767 are the ones that come to mind. I'll probably use the bigger variants of the 767 because I think the 767-200 is incredibly small and kind of honestly shitty in this game. So yeah. And where's the... Should I start using 7.3s or DC-9s? Is there any really small DC-9s? 90 seats, 90 seats, 17 tons. No, the DC-9s are too big. 90 seats is way too big. Lockheed Martins are way too big. Fogger? 24 million, 65 seats. With 2 million more, right? And actually acceptable satisfaction. I feel like Fokkers could be much better. Let's look at the other stats. Tupolev's 4.5 fuel efficiency, Fokker's 4.6. So not much better. Fokker only 2,000. So Tupolev, you've won it again. You've won it again. Yeah, I really needed an alternative to Tupolev's, but there doesn't seem to be any. Yeah, there really doesn't seem to be any out there in the market. So